Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really slick feature in Java called Varargs. It's one of those small things that solves a huge, annoying problem. And we're basing this entire breakdown on the fantastic work of Dr. Sasan Azizian, who laid all of this out so clearly.
So let's kick things off with a problem that I bet every single developer has run into. You need to write a method, right? But you have no clue how many things someone might pass into it. Maybe they send one argument, maybe 5. Heck, maybe they send 20. How on earth do you write a single clean method that can handle all of that without just giving up?
To really appreciate how great the modern solution is, you first have to feel the pain of the old ways. So let's jump in a time machine and go back to the days before Java 5 to see how people used to tackle this.
Back then, you basically had two options, and let me tell you, neither was very fun. First, you could use method overloading. You'd write a version of your method for one argument, another for 2 arguments, another for 3. You can see how that gets old fast. The other way was to make the user do all the work. You'd force them to manually stuff all their arguments into an array before they could even call your method.
And just look at the extra work involved here. It's kind of clunky, right? Before you can even get to the good stuff, calling your VAD test method, you first have to declare an array, then you have to load it up with your values, and only then can you pass that array in. Sure, it gets the job done, but it's just messy. So that was the deal for a long time. But then, with the release of JDK 5, everything changed for the better. Java gave us a feature that just swept all that messy, manual work right off the table, with a solution that was so much cleaner and way more intuitive.
And that solution is called Varargs. It's short for, you guessed it, variable length arguments. And its entire reason for existing is to make it dead simple to create methods that can take any number of arguments. This thing is a total game changer.
And the magic? It's all right here in this one little piece of syntax. See those 3 dots after the data type? That's it. That's the whole trick. That ellipsis basically tells the Java compiler, hey, listen up. This method can take 0, 1, or a whole bunch of integers. You figure it out. And this slide, this is the aha moment. On the left, you've got the old way with all that manual array creation. And on the right, the new way. You just pass your numbers in directly. All that extra boilerplate code just vanishes. The compiler does all the heavy lifting for you behind the scenes. It's just so much cleaner and easier to read.
Okay, so we've seen how awesome and simple Varargs can be. But like with any superpower, you've got to know the rules. To use this thing correctly and not shoot yourself in the foot, there are 2 golden rules you absolutely have to remember.
And the rules are super simple. Rule number 1, the Varargs parameter, the one with the dots, it has to be the very last parameter in the methods list. And rule number 2, you only get 1. That's it. You can't have a method that takes a variable number of integers and a variable number of strings. 1 varg per method, period.
And here's what that first rule looks like in practice. The code on the left, totally fine. You have a normal string parameter and then the varargs at the end. But the code on the right, that's an error. You can't put anything after the vararg, because how would the compiler ever know where your list of integers ends and the Boolean begins? It just can't work.
All right. So now that we've got the basic rules down, let's wade into some slightly trickier waters. What happens when you mix this cool feature with another classic Java concept, method overloading? This is where, if you're not careful, things can get a little ambiguous. Now, you can totally overload Varargs methods. It's actually pretty easy. You can either change the type of the vararg, so one method takes integers, the other takes booleans. Or you can add other normal parameters to the method signature. So one takes just integers, while another takes a string, and then a bunch of integers. But here's where that flexibility can bite you. Imagine you have 2 overloaded Varargs methods, and then you call the method with nothing, no arguments at all. Which one is the compiler supposed to pick? And this is exactly the ambiguity trap. See, a call with no arguments could technically match the int version. It's just an empty list of integers. But it could also match the Boolean version, an empty list of Booleans. Both are valid. So the compiler basically throws its hands up and says, I don't know what you want, and gives you an error. And this leads us to some really solid advice from Dr. Azizian's work. When you run into a situation like this, the best solution is usually the simplest one. Don't try to be clever, just be clear.
Give your methods two different descriptive names. It makes your code way easier to understand and gets rid of the confusion entirely.
So what's the big takeaway here? Varargs isn't just about clever syntax. It's a tool that really pushes us to think harder about the code we write. It forces us to ask a better question. We shouldn't just be asking, does my code work? We should be asking, is my code clean? Is it clear? And is it completely unambiguous for the next person who has to read it? Answering that question, well, that's the real art.